Yeah, they started in about 2000, like the year 2000.
Okay, so since the year 2000, that's 21 years, they've managed to amass about
This guy is insufferable.
30 followers. Why do you care? Why do you care? That's not a lot of
No,
people.
it's not. But everyone is abused in this group. Everyone is brainwashed in this group. People do terrible things. I mean, I found out after years of knowing something about this group that I had been lied to about some of the members of the group, women who left behind, one woman left behind an infant, one woman left behind a 2-year-old to go on a pilgrimage with this group, and they're still in the group, and they still haven't talked to their children. That's just something like, if I could stop that, if I could get, my Instagram is free Melissa Parker, if I could get Melissa Parker to call home.
Who is Melissa Parker?
She is a woman who was sort of hidden from me, that left behind 6 kids in Alaska, including a 2-year-old at the time.
Wow. Left them where? Just in Alaska?
Just left them with Dad, her husband, who she was married to for 16 years.
So she is, as far as you know, she is still affiliated with this.
Oh, she's absolutely. I actually talked to a guy in Australia who almost got in a car accident with her the other day. So she is definitely still in the group, definitely still in Australia. It's a long story.
You haven't spoken to her directly, though. Does she know of your existence?
She does know of my existence. I was surprised. I put out a video in December when I was building the website, because I launched the website on January 1st. But shortly before that, I had a video that I put on Instagram or something, and one of the people in the group was like, "Oh, my dad saw your video, and he won't talk to me anymore." And Melissa saw it, and I was like, "Melissa saw that video where I said she left her kids?" And but they've seen it. I'm sure Mark. I know that Mark, the leader of this cult, is like, checks out all my stuff.
Right. So you're not like I said, you're going by an assumed name here. So obviously you're afraid of retribution. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not necessarily I go by an assumed name, but I'm not the only person working on this. There's a bunch of people on this project, and we all use assumed names just in case. And I don't call it Mark ever by his full name. He's just Mark B, because I don't want to get sued for libel. I don't want the website to come down.
So do they have their own website where they're trying to gain new members?
No, they're really bad at the internet. There is no, if you Google the body, well, you're not going to find that many results on the cult, because it's sort of a innocuous, there's lots of things that have the body in them. But there used to be a little church listing in Alaska for a group called The Body, run by Mark. I don't even think that's on the internet anymore.
We're talking to Siren, who is... What was that?
Sorry, continue.
A reporter and cult...
My LinkedIn says Cult Destroyer.
Okay. Cult Destroyer. I hear there was a City Pages tie-in somewhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This story was a City Pages story. I mean, the murder story that I started in 2016 and this cult story are the same story, really. I published a feature on that story in 2019 after years of working on it. But I didn't publish, for a variety of reasons, I didn't publish anything about the cult or what they did in the crime story.
You weren't silenced for that. You just didn't get it.
No, I was kind of brainwashed. I was, this woman who did the bad thing was kind of a friend of mine, and the person who gave me all the stuff on the cult was like, "Hey, you can't publish anything about that unless you do it with me." Really, she just didn't want me to publish anything.
What's the next chapter? What is the end game?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm doing this for a year. I know kind of what's coming up next week, next what I want to do in the next month, but it's always evolving. I mean, I just have an unbelievable amount of tape because I've been recording my conversations for 5 years now, almost.
Right.
I was working on a story about the history of cults in Minnesota and QAnon for City Pages that was going to come out on November 3rd, the day after November 4th, the day after the election. But the day I was like submitting that copy, City Pages, I got like 50 text messages from people that were like, "Oh, did you hear about City Pages? Oh no, City Pages." And I was like, "I'm working on this article to submit today. Like, this isn't true. This isn't real." But it was. But I have all this content from that. There's so many Minnesota stories. That story about the history of cults in Minnesota I thought was really interesting. So I released one of those stories already about this group called the Whipping Cult from the 50s. And I've got more. Like the next feature I'm going to work on, hopefully it'll be out this month, is about a Minnesota story from the 80s or the 70s, early 80s. So I have all this content from City Pages, really.
So
I'm.
How will you
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I guess here's my thing. So if you don't know exactly who's involved and you don't have direct connection with Mark, how do you know when this thing is done? How do you know when, how do you know that you've defeated the body? Because there has to be part of you here that wants to defeat this.
Yeah, obviously.
So how do you know beyond tracking down the leader and,
getting rid of him? Taking care of him?
Yeah. Right, yeah. How do you know? Or is that the end game? Do you want to know where? Do you want to kill this man?
Yeah. In a way, I do. I think that, well, there's like an expiration date, sort of. There's this thing I'm doing for all of 2021, and unless there's a ton of interest in it, I'm gonna stop on January 1st, 2022. And just kind of update the site as information comes in, but not like continuously make articles. And I love what I do. It's rewarding and it's fun, but it's also like kind of weird being the cult guy.
Right.
So it would be kind of nice to be like a regular reporter again and like write about music again or something like that. That would be cool.
Once there's music to write about.
Yeah.
You'll be able to walk around freely.
Yeah, it's a COVID thing too. Like, there's no way I would be doing this if it wasn't for COVID.
Unemployment check.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had like
So this is kind of government funded, really.
It is. I had like a $10,000 nest egg from the Trump administration. And then, at a certain point, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm starting a business, and I'm going to pay people to make art. This is just what we're doing now.
Siren, I don't know where this is going, except that it ends at the end of the year, whether there's interest or not. I suppose if there is deep interest, it will go beyond that. But if not, then we'll see the rest of your findings on December 31st.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be releasing stuff, obviously, like this whole time. So check out The Body International. There's always going to be new content. I put new stuff up there all the time. I constantly am putting stuff on the website and then putting it on Instagram or whatever, and bunch of fun stuff coming up.
Fun stuff.
I try to make it fun. You got to have a sense of humor with this stuff. I try to put cool music in there. I try to make goofs. I mean, did you see that I called the FBI and told them I was going to krill Mitch McConnell?
Yes, I did. And I'm amazed that you're still here right now after telling them that you were going to krill Mitch McConnell.
That's just a funny thing that really happened.
Just a goof. Just goofing with the FBI. Who could be mad at that?
Yeah.
Known for having a sense of humor.
Yeah.
I think I did make the agent or whoever it was that was on the phone laugh. Because she was like, well, how are you going to find Mitch McConnell? And I was like, I know where he works. And then there was just like a silence on the phone for like 5 seconds. And I was like, I bet she is cracking up.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of funny.
Let's hope.